So, Carol, it sounds like the prosecution right now is sort of laying the groundwork for McConney's role in the organization and his relationship with Trump. There was some color that was written here from the courtroom saying Trump appeared to laugh in his seat when McConney recounted a story about Trump one time pretending to fire him. Of course, thinking about The Apprentice, you're fired, all of that. And so Trump is obviously engaged with this testimony. What do you make of them calling McConney now?
Yeah, McConney is an incredibly important witness for the prosecution because remember that the allegations in the indictment in part rest on the fact that these payments that ultimately made their way to Stormy Daniels were written off from the corporation or put in the ledgers of the corporation as being legal expenses, and that's what kicks off the alleged violations of the election laws and perhaps the tax laws. So the fact that Jeff McConney directed these to be listed as legal expenses has to be shown to the jury, and then McConney has to be asked, why did you do that? Who told you to do that, or how did you decide to do that? And remember that McConney has testified before the grand jury under oath. So the DA already knows what he's going to say. There should be no surprises here for the prosecution. And that's important. We haven't seen the grand jury testimony, but if you've done a good job in the grand jury, you're not going to have any surprises as the prosecutor, because he was under oath then, he's under oath now, and he knows that if he gives an inconsistent story, he could be prosecuted for perjury in one of those two instances. So that's why the DA is putting him on now.
Adam, what's your sense of what the prosecution needs to accomplish with McConney?
Well, I'd echo what Carol was just saying. This is really a very important witness. When he indicated in the ledger that these were payments for legal services, somebody must have told him, write down it's for legal services. And that's a key answer to get out. The prosecution has to ask him, why did you write it's for legal services? Why did you write it's for retainer for legal services? Who told you to do that? Crucial witness.
And so what does the answer need to be if it were to prove beyond a reasonable doubt the underlying allegations here that this was a falsification of business records to cover up an election crime?
If he testifies it was Donald Trump who told me to write down these are payments for legal services, I think that would go a very long way, almost all of the way, to supporting the prosecution's case. And I think stepping back, this appears to be a respectable witness. We've seen a host of witnesses here, from the National Enquirer to others who are completely off-color witnesses, you could say. This is a witness who's a bookkeeper, who's an accountant, who's doing his job, who's being told to have his job. He'll have a level of credibility that the other witnesses won't have.
More color from the courtroom that the jury, as he's offering somewhat dry technical testimony right now, the jury seems to be very focused, that they are looking from the witness to the prosecutor, back to the witness, so following the line of questioning. Ankush, we mentioned he served in the Trump Organization, this witness, Jeff McConney, for 35 years. And Vaughn mentioned how he was found liable in the civil fraud trial. So he's already, faced questions about his own behavior within the Trump Organization. Does any of that background to his story impact this case?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's certainly relevant. I think actually for the prosecutors, it's somewhat helpful, actually, because what you have really is someone who you can characterize as sort of in on the scheme, maybe not in a central way, but in at least a peripheral way. And we'll learn how much involvement as this testimony goes on and how much awareness he really had. But in terms of him having this credibility problem, I mean, the credibility problem emerges from him having served Donald Trump's objectives in a way that was, did not have integrity. And here we may see a similar sort of fact pattern emerge depending on what he testifies about. So ordinarily, you would say that would be a knock on the credibility of the witness, but here it's pretty much on theme.